Hello everyone, the theme here, otherwise known as the Enchanted Champion, and I'm here to give a rundown of SummerSlam 2015. And I will talk a little bit about the Monday Night Raw following it. And the basic thing about this event is that this is supposed to be the biggest event of the summer as far as wrestling is concerned and as far as WWE is concerned. Was it that? Don't really think so. No, not at all. So yes, I got my favorite title here, which is the Intercontinental title. I think it's the most beautiful belt that it ever was, and I was totally in love with the Intercontinental Championship and the title matches and the situations. That was, in the golden age of wrestling, the rock and wrestling era in the 80s, and then there's the next generation era in the 90s. But then they're not treating this title like they should be, and I'll get to that in a little bit. And I'm wearing a Great Muta shirt. Hey, if you don't know who he is, then I suggest you do research, because watching him, damn, one of the best ever. So anyway, let's get down to it. Let's get down to SummerSlam 2015. Now, I predicted that Sheamus was going to eat an arcade blowjob out of nowhere. I was wrong. I was surprised that Sheamus actually won that match. And it was what it was between Sheamus and Randy Orton. They don't put on bad matches together, but they put on yawn matches together. They've been feuding and on and off for years now. And the match, it pretty much set up to not make Sheamus look like the utter Money in the Bank winners, as far as saying he won't be able to win a match until he cashes in. So I'm very grateful that Sheamus actually won, and it actually surprised me, because like I said before, I thought he was going to eat an arcade blowjob out of nowhere. And that would have been it. And I thought that was going to happen, but obviously it didn't. I mean, I thought that Sheamus was going to cash in later, but of course, as everybody knows by now, that didn't happen. So, moving on. You had the Tag Team Championship match. And I said it, I was like, all right, does anyone believe, did anyone actually believe that Los Matadores stood a chance? No. Fuck no. They barely got any pops or cheers when they were in the ring. And, and they had a couple of botches in the match. And, the Lucha Dragons would have been sleeper. I thought that the Primetime Players was going to win, and I wouldn't have minded New Day. But I was surprised that the New Day actually won the belts, especially in the fashion that they did it. There was no bullshit in the match. Everybody had their spots, and it was a big clusterfuck tag team match, which it usually is when they're fatal four ways. But at the end of the day, the New Day took it, and the Brooklyn crowd really loved it. They were actually cheering the New Day. New Day rocks, and that New Day. I was sitting there and I was like, wow, they're actually cheering for these guys. A lot of people are like, no, they suck, no, New Day sucks. But in actuality, you have Big E and you have Kofi that can actually go in the ring, depending. And they had a couple of great spots in that match. Check it out. So, you had Dolph Ziggler versus Rusev. I thought Dolph was going to lose. I just didn't see Rusev losing that match. And then there was the double count out. And a lot of people don't like that, but that basically continues their feud. Where is Rusev going to go besides where Lana is, as far as feuding with anyone? That has to continue for a bit. And yes, they're going to draw that out as much as fucking possible because of those two elements. There's Lana, and then there's Rusev. I mean, once again, there's nowhere else for either of them to go except to feud with each other. I don't know how long that's going to last, but there has to be a victor out of that feud really, really soon, because dragging it out is just not good at all. Okay, so you had the Red Arrow and the Green Arrow versus Cody and King Barrett. Now, I said that there's no chance in hell that look, the superheroes were just going to come on. The superheroes were just going to come on top of that. There was no other way. There was no other possibility. There was just no, not logically anyway. I just didn't see King Barrett formally, maybe formally King Barrett and Stardust winning that match. I just didn't see it, because no, they're not going to bring in anybody that's outside of the WWE and then just totally lose in that fashion. I mean, unless Neville would have got pinned, that wasn't going to happen. So you get to the down point of SummerSlam at this point. Why? Because you had a triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. At the end of the day, and I said this before, only 2 people should have been in this match. 2 people. And those are the 2 people that did all the fucking work in the match. You have the Big Show and you have Ryback. The Jizz, the Miz, should not have been near this match. Why? Because he did exactly what I knew he was going to do. He was going to be a little bitch that he always is in order to fucking just sneak away with something that he doesn't even fucking deserve. I'm happy that Ryback retained the Intercontinental Championship. Big Show wouldn't have been that bad. It still would have kind of made sense for him to have it. But they have to do something with this title as far as elevating it again. The mid-card titles haven't been elevated in a while. A long time. And they've hardly been given great matches with the Intercontinental Championship, depending on its champion. But I'm just so glad that the Jizz didn't get this belt again, because, of course, he doesn't deserve it. He's the one that ruined wrestling. So, moving on. You had the tag team match between the Wyatt family of Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt versus Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose. That was what it was as well. And that, as you can see, that feud is going to continue, even though the Wyatt family lost. And I predicted that the Wyatt family was going to win, and they lost because the feud is continuing. And I'll get to that in a little bit as far as the Monday Night Raw review, rundown. I'm not going to review the whole show of Monday Night Raw. But then again, the very next match, I was very surprised that they actually had it at this time. They actually had Seth Rollins versus John Cena for the United States and WWE Championships. All in all, there are so many people that are satisfied with the result. Because they didn't want John Cena to tie the 16-time world champion Ric Flair. I think it should be more than that. I think they're missing a couple of championship histories that they just won't put. But nevertheless, John Cena's stuck at 15 for now. I think eventually it will happen. I don't like John Cena. I don't hate him. I'm indifferent with him. But the thing about it is, a lot of people complained about the finish. And I understand the complaints. Number one, it was very, very out of place for Jon Stewart, the host of SummerSlam, to come out. As soon as he did, I said, Cena's screwed. We're done here. There was no way Seth Rollins was going to win cleanly. I'm sorry. There's just no way you're going to elevate. Even though Seth Rollins is good in the ring, I call him Seth Raw Miz now because of all the help that he had to have in order. Ever since he first got to the WWE roster, he had the Shield, he had the Authority. He's rarely done things alone. When he has, it's been rocky, so to speak. So there was no way they're going to let him beat cleanly for a championship someone that's been there over a decade. There's just no way that was going to happen, in my opinion. Seth Rollins is good in the ring, but at the end of the day, you got to look at the logic there. I just didn't see it happen. Jon Stewart coming out, yes, he looked totally out of place. Totally. Chair in hand, don't know what to do, but again, he's not a trained wrestler, he's not a trained professional in the WWE ring. Maybe there was a miscue, whatever. But he screws John Cena out of the championship. And yes, it's hilarious, but at the same time, you know eventually that John Cena is going to get it. That's just the way it is. Unless they hype up somebody else to take over. Roman Reigns was supposed to be that guy, but you know, you had crybaby grown-up fans like, no! But I digress on that. So now you have Seth Rollins with both the United States and WWE Championships, carrying them both at the same time, and we just don't know where they're going to go with the United States Championship as of right now. I see a John Cena rematch at Night of Champions, but then the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, I'll get to that in a bit as far as Night of Champions is concerned. I don't believe in the Divas Revolution. I just don't. I'm sorry. And this match, the Divas match was totally pointless because the Divas belt wasn't on the line. There was just no point or purpose to it. I don't understand why they would book that in the first place. The only reason why that Nikki Bella has that title is because they're trying to make her break AJ Lee's record. No more, no less. That's just it. This match was pointless. Divas Revolution, 3 separate teams, no belt on the line. It was just a big clusterfuck of women that could wrestle, women that couldn't, couldn't wrestle, and that's all it was. There was no point to prove. There was no supremacy to be had because the title wasn't up for grabs. So that match, for the most part, I'm sorry, Divas matches are bathroom breaks. That's just my opinion, and I'm just gonna lay with that. So then you get the Kevin Owens versus Cesaro. Now this match, I said that it had the potential to be the best match in the card, and they delivered. I picked Cesaro, but at the end of the day, I understood why Kevin Owens had to win that match. You can't have this guy come in, beat John Cena, and then lose that feud, and then have a down slope. I'm happy that they put on a good match. I thought it was going to be run Owens run, or bitch Owens bitch, but no. He stayed, he wrestled, he fought, he won cleanly, and that's all there is to it. What's next for Cesaro? Cesaro's not going to lose any momentum as far as the fans. So that feud maybe will continue, but it was cool to see Kevin Owens win that match because I think that he actually needed it. In hindsight, yes, he actually needed it. And I'm surprised that was beneath the actual main event. Now, one of the things that I have to say right now about The Undertaker, I think that he actually should hang it up. And it's not saying that, oh no, no. He has nothing else to prove. He's not gonna get the title. He's not gonna. I mean, that's not the right model of the title now, but he's not gonna get it. So there's no reason for him to be there except to take his revenge on Brock. But even the fact that he won the match the way he did, or even if he would have won the match, it still wouldn't have erased the fact that he's still 22-1. It's not gonna erase that. It's done. So you have that match, and the match went exactly the way it was supposed to between those two. You couldn't have Brock go total shaved 8 and just throw this old man everywhere. You weren't going to see that. Undertaker got his offense. Brock actually did his monster thing. And the ending is what everybody is actually having question marks about, and I agree. How in the hell can a timekeeper ring the bell when the referee doesn't signal? That doesn't make any sense at all. Regardless if you see a tap out, you see tap outs all the time when refs are knocked out or not in position. You see pins all the time. The timekeeper never rings the fucking bell in those instances. So why would he ring it without the signal from the referee? That doesn't make any sense at all. So Paul Heyman gets in the ring. Oh my God, he tapped. Referee's like, no, I ain't ring shit. What are you ringing it for? Low blow by the Undertaker, and then puts Brock Lesnar in the Hell's Gate, and Brock Lesnar's like, and then you have the Undertaker win. It solves relatively nothing, even though this is the first time that the Undertaker has actually beaten Brock Lesnar, as far as what I remember, but it proves absolutely nothing, and it solves nothing. We are going to see a match between both of them probably later on down the road, and Undertaker is still not, he shouldn't be there. I mean, yes, he wrestles once or twice a year and a couple of appearances, and they let him rest and so on, but he has nothing to prove. The only way that this is going to work now is if somebody wins cleanly in the very next match, and I don't know how that will happen. So that's my SummerSlam review. I mean, if you have any questions or comments below, please do. I would like to have a discussion about it. So then you get the Monday Night Raw the very next night. Now, tag team wise, the Dudleys are back. Team 3D, wherever you want to call them, they're back. They're one of my favorite tag teams of all time. Oh my God, I was like, whoa, nobody saw that coming. So that's why the New Day won the tag team championships belt. The belt's back. The feud with them. That totally makes sense. So let's just get that out of the way. Then you have all the rest of the shit happen. The Wyatt family losing. They bring in a new member, Braun Strowman. So now that feud continues. So that's why they lost that at SummerSlam. So I understood. That's the logical path that those two actually had. I understand that. So Seth Rollins getting a statue that he clearly doesn't deserve at this time. And when they unveiled it in the ring, Sting was standing in the ring. And I was like, okay, no one saw that coming. So now you're going to have Sting versus Seth Rollins at Night of Champions for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Will they let Sting get the title? Seth Rollins has had it since WrestleMania. Some people are actually getting sick of him. Most are worried about the quality of the match. I'm worried about that too. Sting's can still go due to his in-ring performances and in-ring moves. He can still go in the ring as far as that goes. Seth Rollins is, he does the flippy-flop stuff, and he does terrific things in the ring. For this to actually work, there has to be... If Rollins is going to win, it's not going to be clean. I'm just going to say that right now. It's just not. Okay? If Sting wins, if Rollins taps out, that will be a big fucking deal. Maybe he'll squeeze past John Cena with the United States Championship, and maybe he'll lose the WWE World Heavyweight Championship to Sting. That's one title that's eluded Sting because he hasn't been in WWE, and most people are complaining that, oh no, he's an old timer, but Sting is a legend. There's no disputing that, and to actually hand him the title for like a month or two will cement everything that Sting has went through over the years, and I can see that happening, but at the same time, he was the franchise of WCW, and I'm not sure if they will actually let him get the WWE World Heavyweight Championship for that reason and that reason alone. But time will tell. The show was... SummerSlam was... Raw was, the way it usually is. Yeah, John Cena gives the FU of John Cena... the FU, not the AA, the FU to Jon Stewart. Who the fuck didn't see that coming, okay? Jon Stewart's reasoning, I don't want to see him tie Ric Flair. Okay, that's fine. Understood. But he just looked out of place at SummerSlam. Jon Stewart just looked totally out of place. So those are my critiques and reviews for those two shows alone. I'm not going to go in SmackDown. I'm just not. Most people don't even watch SmackDown anyway. So, no. Anyway, I of course, as a wrestling fan, I wasn't 100% on board with the show of SummerSlam or Raw, but that's just the way it is. It's just, they always have their ups and downs nowadays. So, anyway, drop kicks, backdrops, power slams, body slams, signatures, yes, all that shit as a wrestling fan. This is the theme, and I'll see you later. Credits.